Hello and welcome to Divine Horses and Humans. I'm Jason J. Divine, the dyslexic horse guy, or just the horse guy. This is Divine. We are in the round pen. So you're watching the Divine playlist. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about tarps and how to start with a tarp. So you should be able to do this with your horse, not a problem. So tarps, yeah. Tarps start of so many things. So many things. As you can see, where I just did the fly spray, I just walked away, just left her alone, okay? Pressure and release, right? So let's talk about like the call to action first. Oh, I'll tell you what we'll talk about first. Dyslexic time, right? Why do I keep going about dyslexic time? A, I'm dyslexic severely, struggle to tell the time, so it's 9:30 in the AM, 30th of June 2025. Struggle to tell the time, I don't know my months of the year, and it shows adversity. And the other part, the watch is on the left hand, left wrist. So I do struggle with my left and right, being dyslexic. And sometimes I can't get my words out, and sometimes I get it back to front. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this whilst talking to you. I'm going to be very sort of nonchalant about it. One of the key things I'll tell you about using horse spray on horses, always start somewhere different. So many people, human beings, will get into a habit of just going straight to here all the time. Like they get into a habit of going straight onto a horse like this all the time. Standing in front of them like this. Crazy, crazy. Don't stand in front of them. You're going to get, trouble's going to turn up and it's going to bite you. I will not stand in front of a horse like that. I've been run over too many times. But they seem to think that's the way it's done here in the British equine industry because of this thing called tradition. So I'm going to go up here with my right hand on her right side and I'm going to start on our first base, on the wither. And I'm looking out there. I'm not looking directly at her. I'm sort of keeping an eye on her feet because I'd like to see a cocked foot. But she's got one ear forward and one ear back. And I'm going to do the same here. So left side, watch side. Right, because I want her to decipher the difference of when I change hands and I go, all right. So I want her to understand that. Because as I said, working in the British equine industry for over 25,000 hours, no longer will because they sort of mentally broke me. They broke that, well, they didn't, sort of, they did. Severely dyslexic, I tell a lot of people, but I got branded by an awful lot of people of being stupid, silly, stupid ideas, silly ideas. Always a dyslexic is a bit simple, but when I'd get stuff done with their horses, bit like what you're seeing today with them saying, oh, you won't get this done, you won't get that done, and I'd get it sort of done, they would really resent me, and then what they would do, they would punish me, and the way that they would punish me is they would take all the horses away from me and they'd get someone else to handle the horses. Look at that, just took one step back and she knew. They'd get somebody else to handle the horses and basically I'd just be a glorified labourer. Well, that's what grooming is. And that's where I started to see that reaction. That's where I started to see there's a hole. There's a huge hole in the British equine industry of a thing called a foundation. They've got long reining and lunging. That's it. There is nothing else that they can have this communication with them because they're scared of the technology, i.e. the equipment that's being used, and they're scared of the psychology of it. Because every time I've showed my hand with it, it ends up with me being the one that's being punished because she's not paying attention. So she gave me 2 eyes and I walk away. Me being punished in a way that, as far as I'm concerned, it was them with the problem, not me, because when I went to school in the 70s and the 80s, they teach me with punishment. They teach me by making me feel uncomfortable. They would teach me by hitting me with their hand round my head. They'd give you a thing called the cane, where they'd whack you across the back of the legs, and they'd hit you here, and they'd hit you here, and they'd probably do it in front of the whole school, because he's an idiot, he's a problem child, he needs to learn to apply himself. Oh, and we just throw into the equation, he lies as well. So if you throw in to the equation that you've got problems at home and you're experiencing violence at home, you end up in this fearful state. And this fearful state will either hit you one of 3 ways. So it will either hit you, no, I want you to go investigate that. I want you to go, no, okay, I'm going to accept that, you go and check that out. Right, so I'm going to change tools. So punishment, violence, only ever taught me violence. Didn't teach me to read and write a spell, not at all. It just taught me, right, 3 things. One off, get back to the spot, Jay. One of was run away. So that's pure fear, right? That's what horses do, run away. So you'd run away from school because they're trying to use, well, they've probably used violence on you, and now you're like, I'm not doing this, I'm running away. So you run away, get to a certain point, and you stop, and you turn around and go, am I far enough away from it? Because make no ifs or buts about it, when I was at school, right, they would send out what they called a welfare officer to hunt you down and take you back to school. So I would hide. So that's what I call freeze. And I go and hide to make a decision of what I was going to do. And it didn't work anymore. It didn't work anymore. So yes, it didn't work anymore, so I needed to find another way. So the other way that I could find was fight. Fight violence with violence. If they got violent with me at school, I got violent with them. You're not going to abuse me anymore. But it wasn't looked at as abuse in those days. That's how they taught you, because of tradition. That's the way everything had been done, and that's the way they were always going to do it. And if you didn't learn, we'd just turn the violence up. We'd just give you more of it. So 5 of the best, we'll give you 10. And what that teaches you, right, being a dyslexic, neurodiverse child, A, suck it up. Don't show that they've broken you. Don't cry. Don't show pain. Don't show that they've actually broken you. You just suck it up and you stand there and you do not let a tear drop out of your eye, and you stand in front of the old school going, right, bring it on. And they stand there and they tell the whole school what an idiot you are. Don't hang about with this idiot, he's never going to make it. Humiliation as well. God, the amount of times I was humiliated. So I came out of school with absolutely nothing. And then I went to college, not that they use violence at college. Went to college, exactly the same thing. Oh, he can't write it down. We can't give him the qualification unless he can write it down. But got A's in all my practical parts of it. As an engineer, as a motorcycle engineer. Because I'm pretty multi-talented at stuff. So, I went and worked in the British equine industry for my mental health. They smashed my mental health up because they were using violence towards horses. And it doesn't belong anywhere near a horse. You can have a conversation with them, but you've got to move away from tradition. And the thing is when somebody turns up in the British equine world and shows this, whoa, they get proper upset. And I know this for a fact. Best form of defence is attack with human beings. And when I'm being attacked by human beings, I know I've got them on the run. They don't understand how I've just got done what I got done with a horse that they said it couldn't be done with. Because I threw tradition out of the window, because they use an awful lot of pain in the British equine industry to intimidate the horse, to train the horse, I guess. And it seems to be an accepted thing. And if they can't get that done, oh, we just dope them. And it's not acceptable. Pain is not a motivator. Horses are so forgiving. Right, and you see that then. You see how her ears were forward and she's off over there, right? That's something you've got to be hugely careful of if you're going to work on the ground. And this is another reason I'm doing this, because there's a big hole in the British equine industry. I got so damaged and so messed up moving around horses on the floor because I didn't really understand what they had to do because they hadn't been taught. And that's one of the things. When a horse goes off into the distance like she was there, when their ears go off and they're like, that's where you need to be hugely aware of them. Right? Not stand there and go, oh, that's so lovely, it's so pretty. That's when they're making a decision of like, right, what do I do here? Do I run away or do I stand here and assess it for a bit? And that's where you've got to say, come back to me, attention, attention. Because so many horses are just off out there and they're not aware of you. So they trample on you and they step on you. And then when they step on you, they go, oh, what was that? Because the other problem, because of tradition, everything being done from the left side. Right, this is the right. Like I said, this is the left because my watch is on it. Dyslexic time, 8:45. 30th of June 2025. See, I struggle. And you have to be able to have empathy. And if you're dyslexic, you have empathy already because it makes you empathetic to people that struggle. If you've been through some kind of trauma, you'll have empathy. And that's the thing. Though, if you can empathise with a horse, not being troubled over something, right? And they're just pulling them in the mouth and putting a stronger bit in to create more pain, because that's what they do. Kicking them harder, striping them after, putting spurs on, buying snake oils and potions, and then the last thing of all, the doping. Something needs to change somewhere, and that's where I'm trying to show people, especially people that want to go and work in the British equine industry on the ground as a groom, there's a better way. There's a softer way, but you have to understand psychology, and that's why I'm going to say call to action. Go Google sympathetic nervous system and cortisol in human beings and in horses, because that's how horses learn. And if you start to understand your sympathetic nervous system, you'll understand why you feel like you feel. So for myself, one of the biggest journeys I've had all my life is I have had problems with this feeling anxious all the time. Had it all my life, and that's cortisol. That's cortisol. And you can get addicted to cortisol, and I believe I had become addicted to cortisol because of this feeling. And then I see these beautiful, gorgeous creatures that are big, big animal being treated the way that they're being treated. And they're treating them the same way as they treated me at school, with violence, punishment. And the other part to all of this, right? If you're going to go and work in the equine industry, right, be warned, if you're going to go and work with mares are pretty grumpy. And why are they grumpy? Because they're entire, that's why. Right, they've had nothing taken away from them. Right, so you obviously know what a gelding is. If you don't, a gelding is, they have to take the male's testicles off, because otherwise they just want to procreate, and they can be a bit of a nightmare because they just want to get on everything that moves, basically. They don't understand what a gelding is, so 9 times out of 10 they will kick its head in because they can't work out if it's male or female. And if it's a mare, they just want to coitus, right? So if you're going to go and work with mares, you have to be very, very aware that they are grumpy, but you don't take it personally. If anything, it tells you an awful lot about them. And this is why I work with mares. I have all mares, because all the mares that I've ever met, great horses. You can have your own opinion on this, not so much with the gelding side of things. See, she's moving away from that. Once she actually stops and turns and looks at it, like that, I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to go away with it. Oh, let's go away with it. Because the best horses in polo are mares. Because they're entire and not messed about with. So this is about a foundation and preparing horses for the unknown, preparing horses for what they don't understand. Teaching, not training, because training is physical as far as I'm concerned. So she's moved away from it, so I'm going to keep getting on her until she turns and looks at it. Till she turns and looks at it. There, so I'm just going to stop and I'm going to leave it and walk off. Because she's looked at it. And I'm trying to teach her visually, her going, oh, it's not going to kill me. Humans need to understand, you don't get in a fight with a horse, because I'm going to explain to you, right? Because you've probably never been there. A fight is like this. Come on in. Bosh, 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 bosh. And I've just hit you. Bosh, bosh. Bosh. Yeah, come on. Come on. That's a fight. That doesn't happen with horses. Right? Or they just leave. That's flight. Just leave. And that's all they're trying to do, is to leave. That's all they're trying to do, is leave. And if they can't, because they're stuck in a box, or there's 5 or 6 of you chasing after them in the field, and you've become predators, right? So you've gone into that fight mode, because that's predatory. You've gone into that fight mode that's predatory, right? They will threaten you, with striking at you, bucking at you, biting you, and if you keep pushing, they will attack you because you've taught them to do that. A little bit flinchy on that side. You've taught them to do that. Not going out of the way to do that. They're not planning against you. There isn't a conspiracy against you. They're being a horse. Self-preservation. And I understand self-preservation hugely because I went through a system that taught traditionally the way that they taught everybody. I didn't understand it. I tried to tell them. They told me I was a liar. Is that not what British equine people do to horses? I'll answer that question for you. Most certainly it is. Definitely. So, I try and come at it from a different angle. And then we've got the third one, assault. So, you could call that assault because she moved away, right? But if she moves away from it and I've got a rope on her and I drag on her and I fight, go, no, you come in it, no, and you've been told never let go and all that, and the horse is running and it's dragging you along and you're not going to let go and this horse is, right, that's assault. Mate, ifs to know, ifs to buts about it. Because if I was to come to you and go, I'm pushing you, I'm telling you, I'm pushing you and I'm telling you, right? Or I get hold of your arm and go, come here, that's assault. Mate, no ifs to buts about that. Get charged for that, end up in court for that. And we need to understand, we just need them just to have a little bit more understanding, and we do it a little bit more each day, and we start getting stuff done. And we get it done without an argument. This mare here was a problem child. They could not sell her. Here we go, it's that thing called patience. And if you just clicked over it and you left, you need to learn patience. If you're still here, thank you. You're learning. Problem mare. That horse has got a problem. Bite people, kick people. I had to dope her to have her teeth done. I had to dope her to have her feet done. Everything was done with dope. And that didn't work. We just used good old-fashioned violence. That's why we got her for a snip of a price. So let's just see what we've actually got. Let's just see. Is she gonna like? But she dealt with it. So I'm just gonna take it away from her. Right? She moved her feet a little bit. I ain't got a problem with it. Right? I don't want her to be a statue. She's a living, breathing, sentient being. And I don't want her to be a statue. Because that's what else you see. You see so much in the British equine industry. People making horses into statues. And the horse that's out in the paddock that doesn't move its feet is the lead horse. Need to understand that. So I could say to you, like, comment, share, subscribe, run and tell a friend. Don't forget to hit the icon. You get why am I going to do that? You've got a brain in your head. You know what you're doing. You come here, you're either going to click on it or you ain't going to click on it. But the one thing I'm going to ask you to do, go learn, go Google the sympathetic nervous system in horses and in humans. Hugely important. Horses learn through the sympathetic nervous system, right? We increase a thing called dendrites in their brain. Go learn about it. And if you go learn about that and you're suffering anxiety or depression, panic attacks, or you've got fear going on, some shape or form, it will give you so many answers. So many answers. If you want something different, you need to do something different. And that all starts with you as a human being. And need to start treating horses like horses and not human beings. So at that one, thanks for checking us out. We'll see you in the next episode. Ta-da.